The largest piece of your investment, as you can see here, represented by this chunk, is in the Silphco mutual fund, which represents 61.5% of your initial $6,500 investment. Let the festivities commence. Ah, there's our newest client. How are you doing this evening? It's great to see you again. You look fantastic, by the way. Let me just get your information pulled up here. Your file is at the top of the priority, I can assure you. And that was, birthday was with, that's correct, 27th. And there we are. It looks like you are due for a quarterly report for a new account. So let me just make a few notes there. This, right, since it's your newest account, this is your first quarterly report. So just tallying up just a few of the figures here. All right, great. Well, it looks like you opened up your account on the first of the year, right? And since this is the nearing the end of the first quarter of the year, it's time that we review your account and see how that account has grown or performed over the first quarter of the year. Right. Well, as you can see, or as you know from when you signed up your account, we give you a bit of a grace period when you first start your account, and we have it handled in-house by one of our new account managers who trade and invest your account for you, and it's sort of a preview of what can be expected if you long-term invest with our company. Right, so at the end of the first quarter, which is sort of your free quarter, we then review your account and decide if it's going to be a good fit between the two of us. All right, sounds good. Well, I have your file right here prepared. We have your information pulled up, and I think it's going to be a good time. I think you're going to be pleased with how your portfolio has performed thus far. But before we get down to business, how about the usual bit of a drink to celebrate the occasion and usher in new adventures? Of course, I've got 2 glasses here prepared. One for you and one for me as well. We always feel here at Payday Enterprises that it's always good to conduct business in a very casual and informal way, even though the business is the most prestigious that can be purchased in R&R City after all. But who said you can't mix business and pleasure after all? I do have a wonderfully selected vintage beverage here. It's one of the custom blends here, and distilled in the R&R City breweries. So I think you'll be impressed. It's an 87 with hints of white oak and vanilla. So we'll just pop that cork ever so slightly and let the festivities commence. Just enough for a good taste and a bit of enjoyment for the business at hand, which is your lucrative investments. Cheers, my friend. Just help yourself throughout the course of the business meeting, and please enjoy yourself and let me know if there's anything else we can get you. All right. Well, like I said before, it looks like you opened your new account on the 1st, and you have selected the default growth program, the trial run like we explained before. And let's go ahead and get that file open. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and get my blue light glasses. It's the screens, you know, it's one of those things that once you get used to wearing, it's really hard to go without them. So just allow me a brief moment. And here we are. Let's get down to business. So we have your new client file here. I know that when you first signed up that you were interested in a bit of fast-paced growth, aren't we all? But wanted to keep the risk at a moderate level, which we, during the trial phase of the first quarter of new accounts, we, like I said, have your account managed by one of the members of Payday Enterprises that specializes in new accounts and maximizing growth and asset acquisition. So I think you will be impressed with what they've been able to do with your beginning amounts and the early growth of your account. So let's go ahead and get your file opened up. And let's just find the right documents. We would hate to go over boring tax information and agreement operations and things of that nature. We want to get down to the interesting matters, which are your money and how much it's grown. Oh, here we are. And this is the figure sheet that I wanted to show you first. So this is going to be your growth thus far over the course of the first quarter, which of course ends at the end of March. But as you can see, that's right, I thought that you would be pleased to see just how well your account has performed thus far. We do have a nice steady growth trend, as you can see there with that trend line. Now, you did start with a nice modest sum of $6,500 there, which was a nice good launching pad for your portfolio and very wisely invested by our professionals here at Payday Enterprises. It's had a nice growth of 50%, which is absolutely outstanding. And I think you will be hard-pressed to find a corporation or enterprise or private individual that could invest your money any better than us. Well, you might notice this slight dip here at the end of the second month of February, and your investment of $6,500 actually did have a very slight dip to $6,300, so a slight loss in that first month, or first 2 months rather. But I'm sure you heard of the natural disasters that were occurring around that time in the Hoenn region, so it did create a bit of a volatile and unpredictable nature in the market. So we did see slight loss on our investment there, but as you can see, we did have a very nice rebound in the month of March, and that initial investment of $6,500 has now matured at the end of quarter one to $9,750, and like I said, a 50% growth, which is perfect and extremely well done by our investors here, so please do keep that in mind. Now, with that trend line, as you can see, we did outperform expectations at the end of quarter one, so I wouldn't assume that we would reach the peaks and highs like you see there, but with the prediction of the trend line, I think that we can assume and safely suggest that a steady growth of at least 30-25% can be assumed and expected if you keep a relatively current course of investment, and of course the market does cooperate, which there are always risks in the market, as you know, but this is a great head start. And if we do go ahead and reinvest the dividends on those shares and mutual fund dividends that we've earned, then we can even boost this through some compound growth and things like that. So I thought you would be pleased. What do you think? Right. Well, what's not to love when your money works for itself, and now you have much more of it, or, well, at least 50% more. So that is a great head start to our meeting here. How's that beverage? Delightful. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the second figure that I wanted to show you. Let's find that document here. This is going to be a breakdown of your individual investment portfolio and the diversification that our experts have managed your money into. Here we are. Portfolio diversification. That's right. And where did you, I forgot you mentioned it on your first, well, actually, I can just look in your account here. You did state that your initial $6,500 investment was, oh, that's right, inheritance from a grandmother. Well, if only we could all be so fortunate, but you're the one who fortune favors, so why not take advantage of it? A nice nest egg, rather, left behind to make you undoubtedly rich. Right. Well, I would be very pleased if I were you. So this actually here is a breakdown of the individual stocks, mutual funds, ETF, things like that that you own in your portfolio. Of course, if you have any treasury bonds or anything like that, they will also be listed here, but you specifically at this moment don't have any of those assets, but it's always something that we could invest in, and our experts can always redirect funds and further diversify, which is always a good suggestion. But let's go ahead and take a look. The largest piece of your investment, as you can see here represented by this chunk, is in the Silphco mutual fund, which represents 61.5% of your initial $6,500 investment. Now, the Silphco mutual fund has traditionally outperformed in moderately volatile markets, such as the one that we experienced in the middle of Q1 from those Hoenn natural disasters. So that's why our investment experts placed a large share of your investment into that mutual fund, because, of course, they are professionals and they knew how to make the most of your money. That's right. I would be very pleased, because that uptick we saw at the end in the last leg of Q1 was due to the nature of the mutual fund hosted by Silphco. And Silphco was fortunate enough to have a new breakthrough in their experience share tech, which created a boom in their stock prices. So luckily enough for you, our investment experts got you in early in Q1, and you experienced that spike that you saw, which got you that 50% growth. So excellently done by our account managers here at Payday Enterprises. The second largest asset that you own is in the Devon Corporation ETF, which is a collection of market shares and stocks, things like that, that's handled by the Devon Corporation. It represents 23.1% of your investment. The Devon Corporation ETF is actually an inter-region whole market ETF, which offers a bit more of a diverse and widely spread investment, so it's usually quite safe even in tumultuous times like the one that we experienced recently. So another wise investment by our professionals. You also have a few individual stocks that you own, including the ASMR&R Airlines, which is a modest 12.3% of your investment. The reason I think that our experts invested in ASMR&R Airlines headlines is their recent switch from the Pharaoh services to a more Skarmory-based system. So the Skarmory flight paths are a bit more reliable, and we saw a bit of a uptick in stock prices. So once again, that nice boom you saw there at the end of Q1. So I think that might be a smart stock to hold on to for a while. And the last piece of investment you have is a small individual stock, only 3.1%, but in Build Technologies. Build Technologies, as you, I don't know if how much you keep up with the markets and predictors and things like that, but it usually is, of course, in the research sector, so it's usually a bit volatile, but worth the gamble if you know them, or maybe have some information about some new breakthroughs or species that they might discover. So our experts believe that there might be some breakthroughs on the horizon, so they did put just a bit of your money, around 3%, into that individual share. So it's something that if you don't think pays off in a month or two, or maybe a quarter or two, you can pull that money out and move it into one of your other shares, or maybe something new. All right. So are there anything, is there anything that jumps out to you, or anything that you would like to make a note of early on? All right, well, I'll just make a note of that. So you do want to keep the largest share in the Silphco mutual fund. That's a smart move, especially until things cool off a bit in the Hoenn region, of course. All right, well, now that we have covered the current performance of your account and your portfolio, it's now time to get to the next portion and the next arc of your investment journey, and that is your investment plan moving forward. Like I stated before, the Q1 of new accounts is a bit of a free trial, and as you can see, our investment experts have outperformed the market per usual. And now, unfortunately, that free trial has ended, so you can either pull out your money, with, of course, the fees and things that were listed in your account setup, or you can sign up for an investment plan and continue this money-making journey that you've currently been on. You'd like to see the plans. Perfect. Well, let's just make a note that you have requested plan information. That way, if we do get interrupted or anything, we can go ahead and reach out to you again. Perfect. All right. Well, we do have two plans that we are currently offering. I'll start with the cheaper plan. Of course, these are in terms of how much money you will be automatically investing each month. We will sign you up for a plan, and it will be auto-withdrawn from your account, your personal account, and invested in a way that you see fit, and that way you don't have to worry about it. It's always investing for you, and it's something that you can just passively make income on. All right, let's find that first plan. Here we are. The silver plan. So this is the first plan that you qualify for here. And of course, as you make money and become more of a long-term partner with Payday Enterprises, you might qualify for higher tier plans that carry a bit more risk for both parties. But for now, we do have the silver plan as the first plan on your scale. And I do want to remind you that these plans are a year commitment. So when you do sign a contract for one of these plans, it will be billed out over a year span. So in this term, or in this situation, we do have the silver plan, which is an automatic withdrawal of $500 per month. So you can either look at that as, 500 times 12, the amount that you are going to spend over a course of a year, which of course is $6,000, or just look at it in terms of monthly payouts, which it does help make it seem a bit more manageable. But like I tell all of our clients, it's better to look at this as, of course, an investment and not something that you are just spending money on, because usually this money will come back and work for you. So the silver plan, like I said, is $500 per month, which is auto withdrawn from your account and automatically invested in a list of assets that you will go over with today. It does. Yes, that's right, you read it correctly. It will work with your PokeGear. So you do have PokeGear Management Tool, which can be downloaded as software to your PokeGear, which just gives you convenient withdrawals or transfers, or just checking on your account or communicating with one of our experts. We also have access to our 24/7 support. So if you have a question about an investment, or perhaps a concern about where your money is being placed, then you can contact one of our management accountants 24/7, day or night. Right. And of course, just the important, agreement details, which we won't go over all of that there. It's in that very small text, but that's something that will be emailed to you later after you've, signed and everything like that. But those are just the boring details. But what you should focus on is the $500 that will be invested and will, of course, most likely grow exponentially for you. And these other perks that are great. So the silver plan is perfect for an investor who wants to just dip their toes into the world of investments or investing long term and wants to kind of ease their way into becoming rich. Right. But for that client who is a bit more aggressive in their pursuit of wealth, then I recommend wholeheartedly the gold plan. Now, the gold plan, as you can see, yes, that Persian does kind of represent the evolution of your account. And what did you say your account was for, now that I mentioned that? Oh, right, a retirement account for when you've finished your days of Pokemon training. Well, that's quite smart to get an early start on that. So the gold plan does withdraw $1,000 per month, and it will, of course, be automatically invested like we talked about before. The big perk that you get beyond the larger investment is the instant transfer and withdrawals. So one thing that I failed to mention with the silver plan is that there are unfortunately fees with any withdrawal of money. In case you want to sell out of a stock or mutual fund, ETF, thing like that, you will be, of course, charged 3% on any withdrawal, and there is a 3-day processing time. Now with the gold plan, there are no fees on withdrawals, and you have instant transfers between accounts or withdrawals, things like that. So it's something that if you are a quick thinker and really sharp and like to make snappy decisions, this plan will be perfect. And of course, you get the PokeGear Management Tool as well as the access to 24/7 support and the boring details that we don't need to cover. All right, so those are the two plans that we have to offer you. Which one are you kind of leaning towards? The gold plan, that's perfect. All right, you looked like the type, so I'm glad I didn't read you incorrectly. Let me just get you set up there. All right, and of course that will be billed per month and for a 12-month cycle. So starting now, so next, at the end of next March, it will end. Okay. All right, gold plan, 12-month commitment. All right, and those 0% fees. That's something that adds up, trust me. All right. Perfect, and don't forget to download that PokeGear app. Yes, you can just search it, Payday Enterprises, you'll see it. Encrypted, of course. All right. Perfect. Now, the most important aspect, how would you like your monthly additions to your account to be added or invested? Right, well, we can invest currently and keep the ratio investments the same, so we can invest in the exact assets that you currently hold in the percentage in which they are held. So we will take, for example, if you would like to keep things how they are, we will take your $1,000 each month and we will invest 63% into the Silphco Mutual Fund and then so on and so forth. Or we can introduce you to a couple of exciting new options that we can split into or replace one of the current investments, whatever you would like. You'd like to hear about some of those new options. Perfect. Well, we do have two exciting new opportunities that have come to our attention. Let me just pull the first one up. All right, so the first one is a bit higher on the risk side, but the potential for very large growth is definitely there. We do have the fossil future, so this is almost gambling on the future aspect and outlook of the fossil sector. So, like I said, a bit risky because if there are no new discoveries, then of course we might have a flatline stock or a crash, things like that, which would of course result in significant losses. But it has been trending up recently due to some of the new excavation permits that have been issued in the Salt Flat Desert as of late. So if we are able to get in early on that stock, then I think that there could be some really nice gains to be had. All right, the next is... Oh, that's right, this one is really interesting. The Celadon department store has recently went public, listed now as the Celadon Retail Incorporated. And since it is newly public, the stocks have just been issued, and due to the influx of new purchases, the stock is rapidly on the rise. So it's best to get in early on these things, and the Celadon department store is well established, and I think will do quite well going inter-region. So I think it might be a good decision, but it's your money. I don't want to make decisions for you. It's only my job to bring this new information to light. All right. Well, those are the two new stocks that we could suggest, or you could keep things as they are. All right. So you would like to add a 20% investment of the Celadon Retail Incorporated. Yes, the CRI is the ticker. So we will add 20%, or I guess invest 20% of your $1,000 per month into that new stock. And how long would you like to have this new investment? All right, reviewed quarterly. Okay, so if it's going well at the end of the second quarter, then we can continue or cut it off. Perfect. All right, and how would you like the remaining 80% of that $1,000 monthly investment to be diversified or split up? Okay, just split up as is according to your current ratio. Excellent. So that remaining 80% will be split up according to the current ratio that you have of investments. Excellent. And reviewed quarterly. All right, so we will meet back at the end of quarter 2 and have it reviewed. Of course, now that you are a permanent investor here at Payday Enterprises, you will be assigned a permanent team member and account manager. They will be the ones that are making the investments on your behalf and reaching out to you through that PokeGear integrated app and letting you know about exciting new stock opportunities or investment options, or giving you a heads up if you need to move some money around and avoid some potential losses. All right. Okay, well, I will just go ahead and finalize that information. All right. Well, it looks like we have you scheduled for a quarter 2 review, and we will be looking forward to seeing you then. How was that drink? Perfect. Well, I knew you would like it. You have great taste, obviously. All right. Well, Cassandra will show you back to the elevator and send you on your way. It was a pleasure doing business with you, and I look forward to hearing how your investments go from now on. Welcome to the team. Have a great day.